What's going on, guys? In today's video, we're actually doing a tier list, and we are going to be doing how fun I think each killer is to play against. So I play both Survivor and Killer, so I'm going to kind of take this from a killer perspective because you learn more about the killer from that point of view, but also, you know, more so the Survivor perspective. And before this starts, this is just my opinion. If I say that I don't like to play against your main, you can have like a friendly conversation in the comment section and try to defend your main. That's fine. Just don't be like stupid aggressive about it. It's just my opinion. So before we start, the 5 categories that we're gonna be, you know, organizing them in is goated, which means as soon as I hear that terror radius, I'm like, let's go. It's gonna be a good game no matter what. Pretty cool, which is, you know, it's good. It's gonna be fun for the most part, but you know, those killers have a thing or two that's kind of just annoying. 50-50, which is exactly what it sounds like. It's not gonna be a great game. It's not gonna be an awful game. It might be a good game. It might be a game. I'd rather not, which is killers where it's I'd rather play against virtually anyone else, but it's not the worst of the worst. And then please no, which doesn't really need a description. It's just please no. I kind of want to disconnect or give up on Hook, but giving up on Hook, stupid. Like it's such a dumb epidemic. I hate it. I don't even give up against a Skull Merchant. Do I want to? Yes. Do I? No. So for the first killer, the poster boy of DBD, the Trapper. It's gonna be a common theme in this video as I really judge things off of like 2 things. It's skill expression and interactivity, and those things can kind of go hand in hand. And by interactivity, I mean counterplay, where like a killer does something good. It's a skill expression type thing. It's part of the killer's ability, and they have to try to like mind game you with it, but the survivor has a chance to outplay it, but the killer can kind of think about that outplay, you know, that back and forth tug of war type thing. Trapper has 2 different modes. Either he is an anti-loot killer that just blocks all the pallets and windows and then you'd get dead zoned and die in the open, or he's just an M1 killer, which isn't really that fun. I'd love to put him higher, but there just isn't really interactivity. It's either sorry, I put a trap there, you can't go there, or M1 chase, which, you know, like I said, M1 chase is fun sometimes, but also I like to be on my toes and M1 chases don't really do that. So for Wraith, I want to float Wraith right into 50-50, but I'm not gonna put him there and put him in I'd rather not for one reason, and that is the optimal way to play him is some form variation of hit and run and then legitimate like just proper chasing, because with the hit and run style you can keep a lot of pressure on survivors, and the hitting and running is a really smart thing to do a lot as Wraith, but playing against it is just so miserable because if we don't heal, he can come over here and one-tap us with his stealth ability. If we just keep healing, usually through Sloppy Butcher, because if you're playing Wraith, Sloppy Butcher is a great perk to run, we're just healing the whole game, and that's just not that fun. But he's not in Please No, because there are a good bit of counterplay things you can do, you know, the whole like vaulting back and forth pallet mind game, which a lot of people say is toxic, which doesn't make sense, because as someone who plays some Wraith, it's a great way to waste time. Now for Billy, goated. I don't care if the overdrive is kind of hard to deal with because it's super fast. And then if a really good Billy is in your lobby, you're going to get destroyed. Okay. It's just 4K5 GG, whatever. But as soon as I hear that saw, I just immediately just like, let's go. I'm so happy because every time I get shit on by a Billy, it's not like, yeah, you know, great, like you shit on me. Like if I'm going against a knight and he just puts a guard on me and it just zones me, it's like, you know, whatever. If I get shit on by Billy, it's like, yeah, hey, fair play, great curve, my guy, great curve. Also creates a lot of mind games about going wide versus hugging tight. It also creates a lot of fake vaulting and zoning on fake vaulting, and Billy just has so many mind games, and I absolutely love that. And also he's a tricky killer to use, so when I get destroyed by one, it's just, hey, fair enough. Nurse. I mean, I used to have her higher, okay? I really did. I used to have her like in between 50-50 and I'd rather not. But the more I play against Nurse and the better I've gotten at the game, I just hate how the optimal thing to do is hold W and go to the edge of the map to kind of mess up her blinks and then go die in the corner. Like, yeah, you can cut line of sight, but not every map has enough line of sight blockers. And then even maps that have it, you know, there's not line of sight blockers everywhere. Realistically, you just hold W, you just try to create as much distance as possible, and then you go die in comp corner. which just isn't fun. I do love her atmosphere. Hearing those screeches, honestly, her art aesthetic, considering how long she's been in the game, it's absolutely awesome. I love her sound design. I love just the aura she has. I'm gonna refer to aura a lot here. I'm using like Gen Z, Gen Alpha lingo, but killers that create an atmosphere, they get extra points for that. Michael Myers, pretty cool. Okay, for a few reasons, Michael Myers immediately gets bonus points because 90% of Michael Myers mains are funny. I actually don't hate going against Tombstone. I don't. It keeps you on your toes. You're scared. You're like, I need to do that gen. But the nearest locker to hop in is like super far away. And we need to do this to leave, but the locker, and I'm just terrified. Like, I love being that scared. Scratched Mirror was only fun to go against like the first 3 times, and then it was like, all right, it's just jump scare, hit and run. Like, it's funny, but I'm tired of healing. I would put him more towards goated, but I do enjoy a more complex interactivity, and he's just an M1 killer, so I'm gonna leave him in pretty cool, but I do love Mikey. And the next killer is Hag, which I mean it's basically just Trapper, but not Trapper, which by the way, I'm not ordering these in any specific order. Like, I'm not gonna say like, this is the worst, this is slightly above the worst. I'm just gonna throw them in here. We're not gonna order them inside the tiers. So I mean, Hag is literally just Trapper. It's not, but it is. And actually, I think it's worse than Trapper because with Hag, you also get that hit and run because she teleports to a trap, smacks you. Another trap goes off, she leaves. You know, it's Trapper with hit and run. So for Doctor, this is exactly what I mean by atmosphere. I've played this game a fair bit, and I still get just that little bit of chill. Whenever you hear the screaming of the teammate getting shocked in the distance, and then the maniacal laughing and the static blast. Doctor has aura. My boy Herman has aura. Now for the gameplay, I think he's gonna be the first in 50-50. It is kind of boring just getting shocked until you run out of distance, or like he just closes the distance on you. But there also is interactivity for like the back and forth, you know, he's gonna shock here, so I'm not gonna run there. And then he's gonna be like, oh, they're gonna probably dodge. I'm gonna shock where they're gonna dodge. You know, that interactivity of dodging. Being tier 3, not being able to use your items or really do anything, it's a good feature, but it's just not like fun to play against. Overall, very middle of the pack. Doctor games are usually very 50-50. I think he might be like the perfect epitome of 50, you know, he's a little above 50-50 because of that aura he has. I keep using that word, but like it's like a legitimate thing I'm talking about here. He's got aura. Huntress used to be goated for me. The only reason she's getting shoved down, and it's not even her fault. It's not the player's fault. It's not her design fault. It is the absolute goddamn bullshit hatchet hits. Those hatchets that are nowhere near you. When those hatchets hit you, you just sit there in shock. And then you pause your game, check your ping, and you're like, I'm on 40 ping. And she's on 50 ping. Neither of us are on bad ping, but that one hit me from a different area code. I do think she has a lot of fun interactive mind games. I do love the fact that like when she's chasing you from a remote distance still, like you're looking behind you trying to predict the dodge, or seeing if she's gonna predict the dodge, she's trying to predict the dodge. And then you're running into obstacles because you're running the whole map just staring behind you terrified. I love that. She's also pretty tricky to use. I can completely respect the skill expression she has. She's basically almost goated for me rather than the fact that the hitbox is just atrocious. Now for Bubba. Oh, goated. Goated. Bubbas are funny. He's a difficult killer to use. Every time I get moonsawed by Bubba, I'm just like, hey, good shit. Like, that's actually hard to do. Bubba can face camp me any day of the week. I don't care. Honestly, if he gives me my anti-camp, I'm not even gonna use it. Bubba, you can do whatever you want. Yo, behavior, give him base kit, iron grasp, and agitation so he can get his basement hooks. I adore Bubba and all Bubba players. He is kind of frustrating to play because some of the maps have like really garbage collision, which Batum is one of them where it's like, Like those fences outside of Maine have the worst collision, and Batum is the most survivor-sided map in the game, and it just makes it even worse. But like I said, he's funny. He's got funny sounds, funny design. The people who play him are usually pretty funny. Like he's so funny that he can do whatever he wants to me. That sound, pause. He can, you know what I mean, okay, chill. So for Freddy, we're gonna go based off of non-reworked Freddy, because I haven't played against new Freddy. So we're going against, you know, Freddy. It's just really boring, okay? It's not fun. There isn't really much interactivity there. With his dream snares, it's just not fun to go against. Like, okay, you drop something on a loop to make me hindered. And then his dream pallets they're kind of funny, I'm not gonna lie. Every time I've thrown a pallet thinking it's a legit pallet, but it's a dream pallet, like, it's painful. But it's like, it's not that painful where it's like, that's garbage. It's that painful where it's like, okay, fair enough, you got me on that one. I do also think he has a good bit of aura, which I still feel weird saying that, but like the dream world is its own thing. When you're going against a Freddy, you know you're going against a Freddy, which is a great thing. But like I said, he's just relatively uninteresting. There's just not much to pre-reworked Freddy. Now for Pig. This actually looks really sad because Please No is my biggest category. Maybe that's part of the reason I switched to Killer, which actually I do want to make a video talking about like the 30 reasons I became a Killer main. I mean, there's a lot of really interesting content things I want to talk about. I need to make a video on that soon. So Pig is just an M1 killer with a side objective that's really boring. The head traps they're cool. Like this is the thing is like, I think it's a great design. I think it's cool. It's just not fun to run around the map for 2 minutes opening a head trap. I do wish more Pig players would use their ambush because the ambush is really fun to try to mind game with and like creating those goofy 50-50s. I wish more of them used their ambush. And if more used their ambush and didn't just only M1 chase, I would slide Pig up, but no one used their ambush and it makes me sad. So for Clown, I'm gonna put him at I'd rather not. I respect the skill expression. You know, the ability to correctly use your haste bottles and then place your pink bottles pretty well. I respect that. It's not awful to play against. It's not the best because just being slowed is just not fun. Like killers that just perpetually slow you down, it's just But I also do like the amount of like 50-50s he forces you in. I'm really 50-50 on 50-50s. On one hand, they kind of just like it's a 50-50, you know, it's a kind of a coin flip, but on the other hand, playing smart with 50-50s and just having that fear of, should I vault the pallet? Should I not? Is he gonna expect me to? Like, that's just a lot of fun to have, is that fear of like the panic vault versus, you know, being ballsy and not vaulting. Spirit. Now, my opinion has absolutely drastically changed against playing against the Spirit. It's incredibly tough, but it's absolutely terrifying. She's very strong, she's very frustrating, but I'm gonna put her in pretty cool. I used to have her and I'd rather not, but the better I've gotten at the game, the more I understand how a killer thinks. I haven't played much Spirit because I just don't find her fun to play, but I still understand how a killer thinks, and then I can actually participate in the mind games better. She's actually a lot of fun to play against. It's legitimately scary. Not being able to see her, and then hearing her here, and then you hear it change around you, and you hear, oh, she's over here now. Oh, now she's over here. Oh, do I vault it? Do I not vault it? I think she's gonna think I vault it, but like, what if she doesn't? Terrifying. And even though she's a really strong killer, I can respect that she is relatively tricky to use because you can't see the survivor. You have to know when to actually go a certain direction, when to force them a certain direction, what pallets you should play in your phasing way, what other ways are like the loop is too long where you should honestly just break it. I used to kind of groan a little bit, and then I just grew to really enjoy how scary she is to play against. Like, it is a jarring experience hearing that phasing sound change directions all the time. And dude, like, those are intense 50-50s. So the next killer is Legion, which, God, this really, I feel so sad just looking at all of these. Like, I feel like I'm just so negative, but like, yet again, the whole interactivity thing. He's an M1 killer who runs around and makes you mend the whole game. Like, it's not fun mending the whole game. and you should stay injured. Honestly, like you shouldn't heal against the Legion except for a few scenarios like going across the map for a save. Like you should send a healthy teammate over there. If you want to counter the 4th Thanatophobia stack during the end game, it's great to have those health states to try to force them to use your ability. But rather than that, he is just an M1 killer, which just isn't interactive. It's not aggressively back and forth. It's not very fun to play against. And I honestly have nothing else to say about him because he's just that basic of a killer. I can respect how basic he is, but like he honestly is probably bottom 3 for me to play against. So for Plague, and it's like the same as Legion. Like, dude, I feel so bad for being so negative. You shouldn't really cleanse against a Plague because either you don't cleanse or you all cleanse. And typically not cleanse is the better idea. But oh my God, in solo queue, I'm not gonna judge Plague on this, but I have to just, get this out there. I'll be on a generator. A teammate comes over, touches the generator that's infected, leaves and cleanses. And I'm like, do you not get what you're doing? You're going around giving her power infinitely. Like, what are you doing? So if you don't cleanse, it's just like Legion. It's just an M1 killer. I will say she has some aura. I really, really do like the mythical feel she has, if you get that. Like just the thing she says, I don't know. She's just got this really eerie vibe, and I really like that. But it's, yet again, it's just an M1 killer, and if you're injured and she has her power, good luck. Like, I don't know what you're gonna do. Ghostface, 50-50. DBD is the most fun on Survivor when you're being chased, and people who chase as Ghostface, like they play him as an M1 chase killer, like you're playing him wrong. Like you can play him how you want, but he's not meant to be that. And getting 99'd and then insta down when you're on a generator isn't the most fun, but aggressively flicking your camera around looking for him is really fun. The fact that he can teabag and a lot of Ghostfaces are just goofy, like that gives him extra points. I feel like Ghostface games just always have their own feel to them. It's its own vibe, and I completely respect that, and he's very 50-50. It's not fun to get 99 insta-downed, but it's not fun to just play against an M1 Ghostface, but also playing against a Ghostface who actually 99s you properly is terrifying, which is fun. I'm not mad when I see a Ghostface, but it's not like I'm not cheering. Demogorgon. And I'm not gonna judge this from someone who plays a good bit of Demogorgon. I love Demo. I love Demo. He is fun to go against in the aspect of he's a funny guy. Demo, he's a funny guy. Everybody likes Demo Doggy. Actually, I don't think everybody does, because a lot of people do hate how he M2 zones, which I get it. But as somebody who plays a good bit of Demogorgon, if you don't do M2 zoning, there's a lot of easy dodges available. His ability has legitimate counterplay. And as someone who plays Demo, I understand like how to use that more, and I understand what loops are just like not safe. Like if you go on Mount Ormond and you go to like the circular loops, you're a lot safer there than like people always treat the excavator like it's safe on Ormond whenever I'm playing Demo, and I'm like, that's a long straight area. That is not safe. It has legitimate counterplay. He's really funny. I do want to do like a brief off-topic conversation here on people are gonna like mention maybe crouch teching. So I am currently a killer main, like I said, and I play a good bit of Demo. Crouch teching is not bullshit 90% of the time. Now, crouch teching on different elevations, like shack floor to the ground, where it's like that much elevation difference, that's bullshit. Like that's pretty bullshit, I'm not gonna lie. But the crouch teching where you're on the same elevation and you just move your hitbox into the other killer's, like, zone where their hitbox is not, like that bottom corner, that's a legitimate tech. That is not an exploit, that is an actual tech, because it's difficult to do and it's risky to do. Because if you fail your crouch tech, you sacrifice like half of the distance you would have gotten if you just held W. If you pull off the crouch tech, which is difficult to do, you're also closer to the killer than if he just missed and you were holding W, which is risky to do. And it's something that takes legitimate skill expression, because knowing when to use it knowing when to time it, knowing how to like actually put yourself in a crouch techable position. I remember streaming a few weeks ago, and I think it was an ace. We were on an auto haven, pulled a perfect crouch tech on me. And I was just like, I verbally said, good shit. I respect that he knows how that works, knows how to do it, because a lot of people are brain rotted by crouch tech, and they'll crouch right at the killer's feet against like M1 killers like Wraith or Legion. And it's like, oh my God, like why is everybody brain rotted and doesn't like, they're just brain rotted and think crouching is magical. Like, oh, a crouched killer can't hit me. Like that's one of the reasons why I actually like it, because it is something that you have to know how to use. And with demo, I actually enjoy when people try to do it because it creates extra mind games. Like if I'm playing demo, just try to crouch me. I don't care. But yet again, unless you do like the difference elevation thing, then like that's just bullshit. Like, oh wow, I hit you, but since you're on a staircase, I slid past you. Oni's either goated or pretty cool. And this is how you know I'm not being biased, because I don't have a main. Like I play a lot of different killers, but if I had to say like what my main was, it's gonna be Oni. Oni is the most well-designed killer in this game. And the way that you can say that is, should Oni be buffed? What buffs would you give to Oni? Like what would you do to him? Should he be nerfed? What nerfs would you give to Oni? Like, the answers to all those are like, no, he shouldn't be buffed. No, he shouldn't be nerfed. I can't think of a buff I'd give him. I can't think of a nerf I'd give him. Going against a good Oni is incredibly frustrating because it feels like there's nothing you can do. And the only thing you can really do against an Oni is negate their power, which just involves a lot of pre-dropping and pre-running. And yeah, I'll put him in pretty cool. I love his terror radius music. He's got like a little bit of that aura going. He's tricky to use. He's got tricky things about him that only people who play Oni really get, because timing your power, understanding when and how to keep people injured correctly, and when to commit to things and when not to commit to things, and tracking your blood pools. Like there's a lot to Oni. I respect the hell out of the skill expression he has, but can be very frustrating to play against. And then the best counterplay to him is pre-dropping, pre-running. Deathslinger, goated. I think he's really fun. I think yet again, like that cowboy aura, amazing. His counterplay, it's not awful because it involves pre-dropping when you're injured, but also there are times where pre-dropping isn't going to help you because the loop is too short. And you can fake a pre-drop, make him shoot. You can like try to like crouch his shot. He tries to predict gaps. You try to predict the gaps that he's going to predict. There's a lot of back and forth to Deathslinger. There's a lot of, is he going to shoot here? Is he going to predict a dodge here? Is he going to try to hit this gap? Is he going to predict an FOV tech? There's a lot there. I do really respect the few times I've gotten shit on by a Deathslinger. Like I can think of only one time. It was against a P100 Deathslinger on Coldwind where I couldn't do anything. Bro had my number down, and I was just the whole game. I was just like, you know, good shit. Hey, I had 3 chases against you for a combined of 20 seconds. You destroyed me. Like, good job. Like actually not sarcastically. So for the next killer, Pyramid Head. Pretty cool. The only thing that I think is frustrating with him is just that his M2, if they're good with Pyramid Head, it's incredibly difficult to dodge, because if you pre-drop a pallet, you can get yourself stuck. But if you pre-drop a pallet and leave, you can kind of create enough distance to dodge the actual M2. But pre-dropping is not always the best idea. But then if you go to windows, if you vault the window, he hits you. If you don't vault the window, his M2 fake time it's so short. Like his M2 fake, the window for that is so short. You kind of get put in unwinnable situations, but he's not that easy to use. There is legitimate counterplay. There are places that are tougher for him to play. There are places where it's awful for you to play. Like the main desk at RPD is so funny, because the main desk at RPD, pretty strong for, or I guess against a lot of the killers. Against Pyramid Head, he's just gonna sit on the other side of it and pound M2s at you until you're dead. I also like the atmosphere he creates. I also just think he is designed really well, even though he's not like an original design. I just think he's cool. And there's legit counterplay there. There's a lot of skill expression there. It's interactive, it's fun. Blight. Goated. Goated. Like, yeah, he's the second strongest killer in the game, but Blight is easily the high, like for me, I think it's not even a debate. The highest skill ceiling killer in this game. And also, one of the lower skill floors. The difference between Blight's skill floor and his skill ceiling is massive. If I get dumpstered by a Blight, I'm like, yeah, dude, you did perfect bump logic to make me vault something and then shoulder flicked me around a wall. Like, that's really good on you. To do that is so difficult. And to play Blight well, even though he's really strong, is difficult to do. There are a lot of times where you're playing against a Blight and it feels like you can't do much, but it's still really fun. It's a game with interactivity. You can take him to places that are rougher for him, like, you know, places with a lot of obstacles, inside places with a lot of filler objects, and you can try to predict his bump logic. It's absolutely terrifying because he's just pinballing like 8 million miles an hour behind you. It's scary, it's interactive, it's difficult, which is like everything I look for in a killer to play against. Twins. I'd rather not. I was gonna put it down in please no. Do I wanna? I don't. Am I putting it here only just so I keep like not filling up this category? No, I'd keep it and I'd rather not. The thing with twins, the two things. Victor feels very difficult to dodge, but it's doable. And you can pallet stun him and kill him. Victor is hilarious. He's also frustrating, but he's funny. And the thing with twins that I hate hearing, like I absolutely despise this sentiment, is when a twins player slugs, people hold it against the player. Like, oh, cringe twins player slugging. Like, you can get mad that the optimal way to play twins is excessively slugging. You can get mad at the character design for that, but getting mad at the player themselves is kind of just weird behavior. Like, they have to do that. And it's annoying to go against. It's not fun, but they have to. And like, that's why it's down this low, honestly, is the fact that against the twins, you're going to spend a lot of the time on the ground. There's no really ifs, ands, or buts about it. The design is also eh. The whole vibe is also eh. The only fun thing design-wise is hearing Victor go like, as he's running around. You're like, oh, where's that little shit? I'm going to punt that little guy. I'm going to send that dude freaking Mars. Where is he at? Like, that is fun. He's funny in that way. Trickster. Yeah, I mean, I can respect that you have to be accurate with knives, but Trickster falls in the category of what I'm gonna call a timer killer. And what I mean by like a timer killer is, it's not if I'm gonna die, it's when I'm gonna die. It's like Nurse. It kind of, I mean, Nurse is still kind of an if, but it's more of a when. With Trickster, it's not like if they're able to catch me and outplay me. It's like, all right, when am I gonna die? So then I have to start thinking about where should I die? Because I know I'm gonna die. Like, playing against a killer where you just know you're gonna die no matter what you do, it's just not fun. Their ranged ability is just the most frustrating to go against because it doesn't feel like there's anything you can really do with it. I know that's not controversial. I said like a lot of very basic things. I get it, but there's really not much more to say about Trickster. It just feels like you're on a timer, and that's just not a fun, like, obviously it's not a fun feeling, but like, it's not a fun idea to be like, okay, like, I know I'm gonna die. Like, there's like nothing I can do to outplay this. They're just gonna pound me with knives and I'm gonna die. Nemesis. Goated. Dude, if you play Nemesis, okay, if you are a Nemesis player, please run Tinkerer and other undetectable perks. One of my favorite things in this game. Why is my camera going blurry? Hey, excuse me. As I was gonna say before my camera decided to be a shitter, One of my favorite things is when I'm on a generator, which is like really weird to say, like on a generator, fun. What am I yapping about? And then you hear thud, 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 and you're like, oh shit, dude, it's a nemesis that's undetectable, but you can still hear his footsteps. Like, that is so funny. I love it. If you're a nemesis player, please throw on like Tinkerer Unforeseen. Like, it's so much fun hearing the footsteps, but no terror radius. So for the legitimate things, because like the thing I said is like a personal anecdote of just what I think is funny. Designed, obviously not original design, but designed really well. He's massive. It's really cool that he's just so tall that you see him everywhere. I think that's really cool. He sounds funny, like the sounds he makes, just hilarious. The whip, very dodgeable, but good. The whip is hard to dodge, but it's dodgeable. And then the thing with Nemesis's whip, it actually has offsetting bullshit. On one hand, you can crouch tech that thing so easily. Oh, ha, I crouched behind a 2-inch tall plant. Haha, you missed. That's pretty bullshit. But then you can do that thing where you whip and then move your camera and you can hit these disgusting gaps that are pretty bullshit. So it's like, oh, it offsets. The zombies, funny. Every time I get hit by a zombie, I can do nothing but laugh. I don't care if that one zombie hit cost us the game and I'm having a bad day. I can do nothing but laugh. They're hilarious. He takes legitimate skill to use. He is strong, but not super strong. So he's not like weak and boring to go against. Like I said, legitimate skill expression, atmosphere, awesome. The vibes of playing against him, awesome. The zombies, awesome. The only thing I hate about Nemesis, which is one of his best qualities, is his pallet shredding. When you get your whip tier 2, you can destroy a pallet like it's nothing. It's just so easy to get zoned. It feels like you don't drop the pallet, you get hit. You drop the pallet, you get 4 inches of distance and you're zoned. Like, that's not that fun, but also it does create a lot of really fun mind games on the pallet, a lot of fun pallet vacuum situations. I have him in goated. I think he's awesome. Pinhead. Hot take? It's between 50-50. I think it's 50-50. I was gonna say between 50-50, pretty cool. The power is really frustrating to go against because it is just kind of like the slow you down type thing, but it's a dodgeable slow you down thing. It's not like Clown where it's like, it's not really dodgeable, like it's an area of effect. The quotes he has, amazing. The I came, is that my dono alert on Twitch? Yeah, wait. No, that's gonna be my sub alert, even though I'm not affiliate yet because I just started streaming on Twitch. That's my sub alert, is I came. Yeah. And then his demo dog shaking his head. That's right. He's got great aura. I also think the box mechanic is really fun. It creates a side objective that both sides are trying to play around. Pinhead's trying to figure out where his box is to keep you guys chain hunted. You're trying to not let him chain hunt you. I think it's a fun interaction, but his chain ability, kind of annoying. Chain hunts, incredibly annoying, but it's not the worst. Artist. I'd rather not. Now, she is probably the only true designed anti-loop killer that is not going to be in Please No, because anti-loop killers are just boring. It's just not interactive. Using her birds are difficult. There's legit skill expression. There's also legitimate counterplay, but the counterplay is like few and far between because a lot of times you are heading to a jungle gym or a filler. She puts a bird down and you're already swarmed by birds. If you go to the resource, you get hit. If you don't go to the resource, you're dead zoned and get hit. I don't like that. I don't like the anti-loop style of killers, but she does have legitimate skill expression, so I can give her some extra points. Also, maybe a hot take, but I don't think this is a hot take because she might be the most forgotten killer in this game. She's top 10. She's really strong and people don't think about it. So the reason I say hot take, but more of like a forgotten take, because people don't ever think about her. Chase music and terror radius, terrifying. Absolutely just bone chilling. Absolutely love that. Sadako. Yeah, it's gotta be Please No. I mean, Chase Sadako sucks. Chase Sadako is awful. It's boring. It's so boring. It's just, you can bully the shit out of her. She's just chase-wise awful. So the proper way to play her is the condemn strategy. Hit and run and condemned, which is like, condemned's really fun to play. I've played like 20 or 30 condemned Sadako games, won every single one of them. Very fun to do. Playing against it, you spend the whole game doing gens, then she TPs to a TV, hits you, leaves, you have to heal, and then you have to run tapes. It's a lot of pressure, there's a lot of objectives, and it's all of the boring objectives. I want to put her higher, but I can't. Like, I think she's a really cool killer. I love just how she plays. I don't love how she plays. I love the idea that she plays differently, if that makes sense. But I can't give it points because it's so boring. So for Dredge, it's either pretty cool or goated. No, I'll go goated. I think Nightfall is the only reason I'll give him goated, because it's yet again another bone-chilling aura thing where it's its own thing. It is scary. If you're playing against a Dredge, you know you're playing against a Dredge. You're not questioning, like, what killer are we playing against again? And then you see a Legion running up and you're like, oh yeah, Legion, I forgot. Because I only know what killer I'm playing against if I'm actually seeing the killer. The locker mind games where you think they're going to TP out of a locker. The Remnant mind games, both very fun to do. The Remnant's not as fun because it's like just like strong anti-loop. Not like strong as in really good, as in it's just anti-loop, but like it can create a lot of funny mind games. It's actually one of the more fun anti-loop things to go against. Overall, pretty fun. I really do enjoy going against Dredge. Wesker, also goated. Wesker's difficult to use. Atmosphere-wise, like his audio quotes, just the things he says while chasing you. The design is great. The infection system is awesome. It has like multiple levels to it where you're slow if you're fully infected and you're exposed by the tentacle, and the actual first aid gives him the killer's instinct. And his M2 is difficult to use. It's respectable when he uses it well. I've never been hug-teched to where I think it's bullshit, because like I already said with the crouch teching, I'm more of a fan of calling things techs over exploits. Sometimes I've seen clips of Wesker hug techs where he grabs a survivor where the survivor wasn't even standing because of how it works, like with the hitboxes, and just, it's weird, but it's really difficult to do, and I can respect it, and it's never happened to me really aggressively. The only few times I've been hug-teched, it was like legit, like, oh yeah, that was great, well played. Which, looking at this list, is pretty funny because it's either goated or please no. Like the middle doesn't really have much. And looking at the next few killers, it's not really gonna change. So Knight, like, I mean, not the most boring anti-loop. We'll get to you next. Yeah, I'm looking at you. You know who you are. One of the most boring anti-loop things. Oh, survivor on pallet. Put guard down. Oh, survivor running to shack. Put a guard on shack. You just get zoned. It is just anti-loop zoning. Incredibly boring. Design-wise, design is sick. Like, I love the sounds he makes. Terror radius is awesome. The idea of the guards, like these ghosty guards, really cool. Playing against it, miserable. Either you're getting zoned by guards, or the Knight puts a guard on you where you just have to like fake window vault for 24 seconds. I think it's 24 for like the jailer, right? You're just like, you're out of the game for 24 seconds, just babysitting a guard. It's boring. Now for Skull Merchant, should I like make a new category, which is like, please shut up, go away? Because that's where I'd put her. Okay, like, to the 3 Skull Merchant mains on Twitter that do nothing but sit on Twitter all day and defend Skull Merchant, for the last time, I've never actually tweeted back at them, but everyone else has. We don't hate playing against Skull Merchant because she's strong. Because if I have to see one more tweet where it's, bro, not wanting to play against this really weak version of a Skull Merchant is really weird behavior, it's like, dude, for fuck's sake. It's so boring to play against. It's not due to her power level. It's the same thing as a Knight. Oh, survivor on a loop. Drone. Okay, fine, I'll go to shack. Oh, there's a drone on shack. All right, well, at least I have this little filler palette out here. Oh, filler palette. Drone. Like, it's Oh, it's so boring. Her design isn't even good. It's just some lady with a fucking mask on and a Wolverine claw on her arm. Like, the design isn't great. Terror Radius chase music isn't great. It's actually their ass. Her music's ass, her design just not great, not interactive. Like, I'm not trying to lump on the whole everyone feels this way opinion, because another thing is I've only been playing this game since December of 2023. I've only been playing for a year. Well, I guess 13 months. I wasn't around for the 3-gen Skull Merchant age. I wasn't around for that. All of my opinions on her are newly formed. So for Singularity, it would be in Please No, but as somebody who's actually started dabbling in playing Singularity, I respect it. To play Singularity, you cannot slack. Like, you cannot just like zone out for a little bit. If survivors are good with EMPs, it is horrible to play Singularity at times. It's just frustrating. It's fun, but it's horribly frustrating. And then as Survivor, you know, like what we're actually talking about, pre-drop palette and then have him repeatedly teleport onto you is just not that fun, I'm gonna be honest. Design-wise, beautiful. The fact that he is so different than any other killer in this game, beautiful. Playing against him is just really aggressively annoying because it's like the tightest 3 gens that could ever happen, or it's just kind of like repeatedly TP, repeatedly TP, repeatedly TP, like it just, but it's not the worst. He creates a new fun side objective of monitoring cameras. Like from the Survivor side, you gotta monitor which ones are on, when you should EMP, when you should grab an EMP and help your teammate in chase. Like there is a side mode to him that I enjoy. Dino, 50-50, like right, honestly, right in the middle for me. The tail is kind of sometimes bullshit because it functions a little bit with the Huntress hitbox feel, where there's a lot of times the tail hits you and you're like, bro, that shit wasn't even on my screen. And you can also do the thing with him, which is a legitimately hard thing to do, the tech of tailing over an object and dragging your camera at the perfect time down. Like, it's frustrating when that happens because it feels like you couldn't do much, but it's difficult to do. So I'll give it points for that. But also his tail has legitimate counterplay. Is it boring counterplay? You know, a flame turret is what I'm talking about. Yeah, that's boring. Like, it has counterplay in the idea of dodging it, but it also has like a legit counter. Design-wise, a lot of fun, like in that aspect. Playing-wise, not amazing, but not awful. I'm not opposed to playing against the Xeno. I used to be like annoyed with it, but then I learned like how the tail works, and I'm like, okay. Sometimes you still get really bullshit hits, but even on low ping, but you know, it's okay. Chucky. Huh. You know, wow. Now, while I'm thinking, aura, off the charts. Chucky is so much fun to hear the little grunts and screams and groans and funny audio quotes, and his design is just funny. Playing against it, I'm tired of filling up this category, but I think I have to put it in Please No. Like, he's so short. So when he goes undetectable in Heidi Ho, it doesn't really feel like he can do anything. The 180 scampering is bullshit. Sorry, like it's just infinite power usage. He also has the ability to flick really tight, which is frustrating considering he's super short. He's fast, but he's not as fast as he used to be. It just feels like there's a lot of times there isn't much you can do. I mean, Chucky is a killer where if he chases you and you're not on the ground within 60 seconds, the Chucky's playing like shit. There's a lot of killers like up here and even in here somewhere where it's like, it's gonna take time to catch the survivor if they have enough resources. But with Chucky, it's like, he can't pre-drop, he can scamper under it. He can't hug corners because he's just gonna flick the corner. Aura-wise, great, love it. Playing against it, nah. Unknown, goated. Sweet design. The hallucination teleport mind games on loops, very fun. The projectile, legitimate counterplay. The Unknown is actually one of the sneakiest, trickiest killers to use in this game. As somebody who's haven't played much Unknown lately, but I've started playing some Unknown. Actually tricky to use. It is not an easy killer to use. I keep saying use, but it's a good word. So the design is sick. The ranged ability's fun, legitimate counterplay, a lot of skill expression. The hallucinations are fun. He's honestly just goated. Like, he is like Huntress, but better in the aspect of like to play against. Vecna. This is one I've never thought about. Like, every other killer on this list, it's crossed my mind how I feel about them, but he actually is a killer that hasn't crossed my mind. I think I'll put him in pretty cool. Yeah, no, I think he belongs there. But the more I think about it, like, I just don't think there's nothing bad about playing against him. Like, the mage hand is kind of annoying at times, but that's only like one small thing. I think I gotta put him in goated. The ghost, when used correctly, are really good at slowing you down, but respectable that they knew when to use it to make you crouch so you couldn't make it to the pallet. The mage hand, when actually used correctly, you gotta time it well, which I can respect. The design's pretty sick. The little magic items are sick. I actually think he's goated. Wow, I never thought about Vecna like this. No shit. I actually can't think of something I hate about him. Dracula. 50-50. He's strong, and at times he can feel a little oppressive just because of how many things he can throw at you. I don't think it's that bad though. I think it's 50-50. You can dodge the fire is difficult to dodge. You can dodge the wolf is difficult to dodge. The bats are really strong, but you can play around them. I need another finger for this. But you can play around them. The design's pretty sick, except for the one new, the visual physical design of that one skin that was in the last rift. Cool, awesome. The laugh is horrible. Like that laugh that is true form. That's the name of it. That laugh is awful. The Mori is sick. The design is sick. He's just got a lot that he can throw at you, and it can feel really annoying at times, but I also can respect it because it's not the easiest thing to kind of balance all of that, knowing when to use what. And actually for the last killer, I didn't realize we're already done, Houndmaster. Now, when she first came out, pretty cool / 50-50. New Houndmaster, I'd rather not. We've got to find a happy medium of these dog cooldown times. On one hand, the base, like the first dog cooldown was way too long. And now it's way too short. Like when you're playing against a Houndmaster, it's like, aha, I perfectly dodged the dog. And then you're like, all right, let's go get some distance now. And then you hear her whistle again. And you're like, bro, I just dodged the dog. Like, you got hit again already? Okay, all right, we'll do it again. And then you pallet stun the dog and you're like, aha, got it. Now let's go get some distance. And then you hear the whistle again immediately and you're like, what? Dude, what? The reason it's not in Please No is it's not the easiest thing to use. The design is pretty cool and the dog is cool and all that. And also, since she gets the dog so much, it's not a boring M1 game. It actually is a very intensive game to play, which I really respect, but we've got to find a happy medium of these cooldowns because new cooldown, whoa, a little much. But let me know how you guys feel about this list. If you feel the need to defend your main in the comment section, I'd be more than happy to have a fun conversation about it. But thank you guys all so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.